Hey, video 5. You know, I thought this was going to be a quiet holiday week, but not according to Elon Musk. The video I made before, I got into some of the stuff that's going on about the whole H1B and all the visa situation, and I I actually made that video after looking at one or two articles, and I thought it was just going to be a passing fancy, like just the meteorologist telling us about the weather. I'm glad it's not. I don't have a big enough megaphone to get the word out about how crucial this is. It's going to be interesting that Elon has said, you know, certain people in MAGA need to be pulled from the Republican Party by the roots, and tossing out profanity and Vivek is saying similar. Not he's not throwing out the profanity, at least that I haven't seen. I'm not on Twitter. I left Twitter before Elon Musk took it over, before I even knew he was thinking about taking it over. And in some ways, I'm kind of glad I haven't gone back. It, I just don't want to spend the time trying to build something and then the rug can get pulled out from under you. I hear people are losing their blue check marks. Uh, Monetization opportunities are being taken away. And I just think it's a big shame. Elon Musk reportedly is worth $400 billion. Don't you have enough money? We have Jeff Bezos, the Google folks, the Facebook folks. They're all making their way to Mar-a-Lago. This must be what it's about. None of those names I've mentioned are worth less than $100 billion. Don't y'all have enough money? And I thought myself that the H1B was pretty much just for tech, because I ran into it when I became a recruiter myself, a recruiter in tech. We never really recruited anyone that had H1B because we couldn't do that type of sponsorship. But it's wild to see that in every job application that I put out. Will you now or sometime in the future require sponsorship? See it all the time. It's almost like, if you speak this language, press this number. Anyway, on a personal note about visas, I have a friend who is an immigrant from the Dominican Republic, and she has family in Spain that she visited last year, and she was there for a month. And after being there for a month, she's a senior citizen. She was considering retiring there and moving there. Went through the trouble to fill out a visa application herself, and guess what? She got turned down. She got turned down because they said she didn't make enough money. So she's still here in the States uh, on Social Security as working. She's on a part-time break right now because she had a surgery on her shoulder, and so that has her incapacitated a little bit until next year. But I thought it's interesting. Uh, they may have in Spain, like we do here in America, people just walking across their border. But if you're trying to get to the country via an airplane, uh, they do a few more checks because they're trying to protect Spain first, perhaps. Here in our country, we don't seem to be doing that. I learned from Mark Levin years ago that 40% of the illegal immigrants in the U.S. have overstayed their visa. So they're not exactly undocumented like we've been told. They have documents. We're just not doing anything about it. And I thought that it was all just tech, but no, I'm finding out that H1Bs can be cooks. They have people who have these visas who are custodians. They're not necessarily the best and brightest. Show us the people. Show us these jobs that are being filled by H1Bs, and let's investigate and see how special they are, how special the position was. Could it not have indeed been filled by an American citizen? And as I've thought before, and as I may have said in the previous video, I wonder if the opinions would be different if the H1Bs were affecting lawyers and politicians and news reporters and news anchors. Because um, we've exported manufacturing quite a bit in our country. We've also overly restricted our mining and drilling. Arguably, we've done so. And we say that only migrants want to work in agriculture and wonder why our birth rate is so low. And the average age of a home buyer is now 56. People don't feel like they can sustain a family. You know, a story by CNBC. The average age of someone purchasing a house right now is 56. That means there are quite a few people above that age making that average possible. And it shouldn't be that. I also saw a story this morning or a headline this morning that said the median price of a home in the U.S. is $410,700. My first house was $171,000. If I had to buy that house today, I've checked on it here and there, it would be around that 410 to 450K range. And to me, that was a good starter home. I'd probably still be in that home if I didn't get married and move someplace else. Very good home. I wonder if 410,000, 450,000 is still a good price for a starter home. I don't think so. And it might be attainable if someone is getting paid the type of money I would be paid if I were working now. But a starting salary, it would be a stretch. For some people's final salaries, it would be a stretch that I think is too high. I definitely think the age 56 is too high. Now, granted, I was in my mid-30s when I got my first house. And you got to factor in that older people don't tend to move around much until maybe once when the kids are all left the house and then they want to downsize. I understand that, move someplace smaller or maybe someplace warmer. But I didn't imagine they were moving around that much. Younger people starting families need the space, get out of an apartment. The age should probably be somewhere in the 30s, not 50s. And my concern with Doge is I wonder if there's anyone around. You got both Vivek and Elon both pushing this stuff. Really, if they're wanting to cut costs, this whole Visa stuff should be one of the first things to go. The arguments that they're making should really be made for what I'm learning is an H1B visa. That 1/100th of 1% of persons that have a specific skill set that we needed when we had when we launched the nuclear bombs, when we did launch people into outer space, our rocket program. But for those are very few people, not 100,000 every year. There's not 100,000 of those people on Earth every year. Those are once, Einstein is once in a generation, once probably in a lifetime. Tesla is once in a generation, once in a lifetime. So it just feels like it's a scam for chain migration. If the folks are so great, then maybe they should stay great where they are. In fact, I talk about being here in Texas. I'm not trying to promote Texas, really. I think it's a great state, but if you're not here already, I'm sure where you are is great. Keep it that way. The other 49 states, keep it that way. We're full. I say tongue-in-cheek. I'm sure the real estate agents don't feel that way, but those of us who have to endure the traffic, we do. So help make wherever you are great too. I even hear that there's an E1B or E visa that some stripper from Australia got. Do we really need to import strippers? Anywho, it's good that the debate is going on right now. I hope it continues because we need to get to the bottom of it. Or someday there's going to be, maybe we won't actually get to the bottom of it until folks are imported to take over the jobs of people who are in the news media and the lawyers and the politicians. But that might not happen in my lifetime. We have an opportunity to do something good, and it's going to be interesting to see who wins out. Are they going to be able to influence Trump to the point where it thwarts his whole ability to do his Make America Great Again agenda? Is he going to get played the way he got played, in my opinion, with COVID, particularly with the shots? He was really excited about how the shots were created in record time, warp speed, kept bragging about it even when he was out of office. And I think, in fact, I know, his brags about it were used against the people who actually support him. Jen Psaki, the press secretary for the current administration, one of the press secretaries for the current administration, said, I'm just going to put this right here. And it was a tweet or a message by Trump that probably a Truth Social message by Trump, where he's bragging about, hey, Biden, you owe some of the success about the shots to me, to Trump, because we got it done in record time. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have gotten it done in maybe 10 years. We saved millions of lives. And she took that type of tweet or message and re-messaged it. And that just gave license to folks to push the mandates, say that they're safe and effective, and really give folks, well, ultimately you have a choice, but the choice was to leave your job, leave our business, suffer financially, be bullied, or take the shot, even in folks in the military. Anyway, I think I've covered most of my points here for today, and it's going to be interesting. Can hardly wait till tomorrow, or the new year, or January 20th to see what kind of nation we're actually going to try to be. This is why I've said we need to play defense with our finances. I have no income coming in right now. There's the potential, as I mentioned, this opportunity, but I'll believe it when I see it, when a check actually gets in my hand, when they actually have me doing the work. But even then, I'm going to still live a life of austerity until I see that I don't need to. But we're living in a world where things cost more than they should. I'll tell this story and then I'll wrap up. I remember standing in line at the grocery store one day, and I picked up a candy bar, and I showed it to a lady in line behind me, and just kind of brandished it. She looked at me as if to say, "Okay, Ann, what else?" And I just whispered to her, "This is $2." And she couldn't believe it. $2 for one candy bar. It wasn't even a king size candy bar. It's just a regular candy bar. And I feel the same way when I see, the price of tomatoes or apples or avocados. $3 is, I've seen as much as $3, $4 for one avocado. Crazy. As comedian Rick Schneider said, is his name Schneider? I forgot it. His last name is Schneider, but the first name's not coming to me right now. But he said to Tucker Carlson, if avocados were $5,000 each for the wealthy, well, then they would just have $5,000 guacamole, and it doesn't affect them as much. But I have to think everyone in Oprah's life is not as well off as she is. Certainly she must be related to somebody who is like the rest of us and is struggling to make ends meet. Even people who have decent incomes. I see nice looking cars in the parking lot at Sam's Club and Costco, so they're looking to save too. But at the same time, I see people going to these ball games, professional sporting events. I went to a career fair, well, actually a conference at the Cowboy Stadium a couple of months ago, and it wasn't an actual game, so the concessions weren't open, but I saw a portable concession with the prices listed, and for a bottle of water, it was $6 for a bottle of water. And I thought, man, either everybody's making more than me, or they have hookups I don't have, or they're in more debt than I'm in. I haven't totally figured out which one it is, but I just said, hey, I'll watch the game at my place with unlimited leg room, all the water I want for about 2 cents per pint. And it's $6 for 1 pint. Not for me. But again, as in the words of Forrest Gump, that's all I have to say about that. See you next time.